Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween to you, too.
What's your costume?
Myself. A pro hockey goalie.
Nice. Gonna pretend for a day. I like it.
Not like I haven't been for the last 3 years, right?
You're not doing a tandem Halloween, nothing? No parties?
I went as Buzz Lightyear every single year from when I was 5 years old until 12. Same costume with the wings and everything.
Nice.
And I outgrew it. I don't know what I would go as. I like the Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last, with like the Wonder Bread jacket. That's pretty. I don't know why the Southern accent came out there, but
Because he had one.
I like that. I like that. It's a good costume. What about you?
My wife and I have been discussing that at great length. We were trying to come up with a family costume. Saw some good inspiration online. She thought about doing actually, speaking of Will Ferrell, a Anchorman thing, because I got the mustache. Yeah, we've had a few different ideas. We haven't really settled on anything yet, but I'm sure we'll figure it out before we go to all the socials that happen. For those that don't know, by the way, a Manitoba social is actually quite a very esoteric thing. My parents didn't understand it when I explained it to them, but before you get married, you throw a huge party at a community hall, you get people to pay to go in, and then there's a whole bunch of auction items like Rainbow Auction where you drop little tickets in, and there's everything from trips to jerseys to hardware tools to movie passes to baked goods to lottery tickets, and that's how you raise money for your wedding. And the government, up until this point, has been kind of turning a blind eye on the income that you use because it's directly being used inside the community and it's going towards your wedding. So it's a very, I know different areas call it a Jack and Jill, but it's very different here in Manitoba. And it's funny because you might not make the cut to get the invite to the wedding, but you're getting invited to the social, and then there's support tickets, and it's a great little racket that only happens here in Manitoba, and I love it. I think it's great.
My favorite thing about the social is when they have like the cold cut meats and they put a piece of salami on your shoulder.
That is a great game. So in those socials, there's the midnight tray that comes out, and it's just a mess of cold cuts, and it's deli and cheeses and olives, and it's wonderful. And yeah, you go around and you drop a piece of meat on somebody's shoulder. You meat shoulder them and see how long they go without noticing. It's fantastic.
That's James Woods and Family Guy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Ooh, piece of candy. Yeah.
Fall's like my favorite time of year, though. The fall colors are beautiful. I will say it is better definitely in Ottawa and in the Valley area where they have the deep reds and the bright oranges and the yellows. They're stunning.
Yep.
Vancouver has so many of the reds, which I got to see last week. But Winnipeg with the bright oranges and the yellows and just that cusp on the edge of them all falling off the tree, it's beautiful. It's really
we have the Manitoba maples here, which don't quite go red. We get a lot of the yellows. We get every shade of yellow and brown and in the backdrop of the wonderful evergreen. But, yeah, we don't get a lot of the reds. The East Coast gets those beautiful, beautiful reds, like down through Cape Cod and all those areas. Man, it's like a postcard everywhere you turn.
It's stunning. Pumpkin spice season 2.
Absolutely.
It's the best time of year.
And that oat latte that I had, good. Good coffee season. Yep. It's time to start wearing plaid and browns and greens. And you actually, your girl was complimenting me on my autumn choices for my wardrobe. Mm-hmm.
The comment section. Somebody left a comment the other day. I actually got a couple messages on Instagram because our clip's been popping so much. Somebody said, I will watch every show every single Sunday if Dave stops dressing like my geography teacher.
Okay, listen.
I like the fit, by the way, in the Brian Johnson hat. I like it.
Well, this hat, I mean, as far as the people call it the Che Guevara, he wears more of a po' boy hat. But, I'm a hat aficionado from a long time ago. But as far as my wardrobe, I give my wife a lot of credit. It was probably about a year or so ago. She said, listen, you're in your mid-40s. You can't walk around like you just walked out of a locker room anymore. Like, you got to start dressing a little more age-appropriate. And I went, yeah, you're right. There was no argument. There was like, oh. It was like, yeah, you're right. I got to start dressing a little more appropriate to my age. And so started breaking out more of the collared shirts, started breaking out more of the blazers and whatnot. But in the summertime, it's too hot out for a blazer, and so a vest works well. So I don't know. I like the style. I don't care what you think. My wife thinks I look sexy, and that's really who I'm trying to impress.
Do you think I dress age appropriate?
I think your style has definitely evolved since we started doing this podcast, and my wife was actually complimenting you on your sweater that you wore last week. And yes, you're much more clean cut. And, you're looking much more age-appropriate in your late 20s. Looks good, man.
Yeah, it couldn't have gotten much worse when we started. I literally remember with the mullet coming down, which, not a good look. I'm not a big fan of the mullet look anymore, obviously because it's gone. But the athleisure, the baggy...
The athleisure, that's an actual term? I like that.
It's like athletic wear, but it's a little bit classier, but it's still athletic wear. Or like the Mississippi Seawolf sweater I had would be athleisure because it's more classy sweater, but it's also like athletic wear at the same time. But Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings up an interesting topic as far as style goes in the leagues. I know most professional leagues, as far as the top tiers when it comes to the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, the CFL, all the way down Major League Baseball, they got very specific rules because whoever their jersey providers are, it's like it's got to be 1 inch off of here, and your socks can't be more, and the sock pattern has got to be above between the shin and this and the skate, and it can't be too low. Because I remember playing in my day, and guys would rock their, as far as the colored point of their sock, would rock it all the way down, like just coming over their skate. So it looked like, I mean, everyone had kind of like a different look, but they wanted it as uniform as possible for promotion. They wanted it to look good, but it's starting to creep back in a little bit. I mean, I think Ovechkin is kind of one of the
jersey tuck.
Well, not even the jersey tuck, but I mean like the laces to hold up his. I mean,
oof. Those yellow laces all the way down to the knees. I took that from him. Mm-hmm. Great style when he had the jersey tuck all the way in the back. He took the Gretzky up to level 10. And then I remember, I think it must have been like 2013, 2014. They came out and said, hey, we have a new jersey deal. No more jersey tucks. Mm-hmm. You got to stop that. And so he would tuck it in warm-ups. Mm-hmm. But come game time, no more tuck. Like his iconic style was lost. I love the tinted visor too. He was such a style icon when he was a younger guy.
Yeah, it's interesting, and they're really trying to get away from that. They just wanted to be a lot more uniform. Like, and with the grandfathered rule, I mean, you're seeing less and less guys without a visor out there anymore, which is really interesting. Like, you come into the league, you're wearing a visor. I'm curious to see how long it'll take, because that's all comes down to insurance reasons for the teams. But I'm curious to see how long before, maybe another decade, maybe 2 decades before the full bubble comes in.
Hear me out here for a second. So they get rid of the jersey tuck, which is a style icon. I've also noticed, I found personally, I love not wearing a neck guard, showing a little bit of skin, like from the neck down, a little bit of collarbone, a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of neck, a little bit of trap. Apparently women are attracted to guys with big necks. Big necks are masculine, so I'm told. I hate wearing neck guards. I don't know why guys want to wear neck guards and cover up more than that. You want to show some style.
Yeah, but I think it's got to be safety first, right? I mean, the NFL's been, I mean, you're not even allowed to take your helmet off on the playing field in the National Football League. And a lot of these guys who are trying to expand their brand and trying to be more visible and whatnot want to be able to take it off after they score a touchdown. The league's like, nope, we'll let you celebrate during a touchdown. We'll bring that back. How about that? But they're really trying to I don't know. It's not that they don't want personality. They just want the right kind of personality. You know what I mean?
Greatest celebration in NFL history. Randy Moss pulling his drawers down. Remember that one?
I do remember that. Ooh. And rubbing his butt up against a Joe Buck. Oh, my, I have to apologize. That is disgusting. Oh, man.
Also Terrell Owens celebrating at center field.
Yeah,
and then just gets wrecked.
Emmett took some yeah, he didn't like that all too much, but I don't know, man. I like seeing a little bit of personality in there. I'll give a perfect example, a guy like Matt Sundin. One thing I love about Matt Sundin, doesn't matter if he was scoring his first goal of the season or his 50th goal of the season, hands in the air, big smile. I just scored a goal in the National Hockey League. It was never one of these, no big deal. You know, it was celebration every single time. I really appreciated that about Matt.
King of the half clapper. That half clapper hat trick Saturday night, Flames and Leafs, 06-07. That was an iconic hat trick. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Hands in the air. Let's go home, boys.
Yep.
Let's go downtown Toronto.
Yeah, I think a good celly can. There's times where the celly is actually better than the goal, but it'll get you on the highlight reel if the celly's good enough.
Artem Anisimov, one of the greatest cellies. He also retired recently, but the old the sniper.
Yep.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Riding the broom, Tiger Williams.
Well, then
iconic.
You got to mention Teemu Selanne then.
Yeah. Got to shoot it. The
Absolutely.
sniper. Was that a sniper he was doing, or what was he doing?
No, I think he was doing a clay for like shotgun, like clay shooting. Right? Like you throw the disc up in the air.
Yeah.
The shotgun. I don't know. That was iconic, man.
Oh, that was great. Just chip it over the goalie. Fire it in for 70. The old Winnipeg Arena.
Oh, look at it this way. Great example. That classic picture of Bobby Orr sailing through the air. That's one thing I don't think your generation and younger appreciate as much because of modern photography and the way you're just able to hit that shutter and it just goes and takes all the photos, right? And the drones and all these things. Those guys had one bulb, they had one frame, and they just hoped and prayed that they got the right angle. So a picture like that is so iconic because it was just a perfect moment. That one of Muhammad Ali standing over Joe Frazier, right after he put him through the ropes. I mean, they're just such iconic photos that I think don't get appreciated as much in this day and age.
You see that Askarov celly? The Yaroslav Askarov? He's the Predators goalie that he wanted to play for the Preds. The Preds said, no, you're going down to the American League. He said, trade me.
Oh, that's the guy that drops the net, isn't it?
Yeah, he drops the net down. And then he gets traded to the Sharks. put down to the Barracuda in the American League. And when he drops that net down, I love that celebration. Game's over. You don't need this anymore. And he's a G. He's an absolute G.
In the American League.
Yeah. Top Askarov.
Well, listen, this lends to a conversation we've been having over the last few episodes, but a lot of these players are like, nope, I'm not going down, not going down. It's like, well, if you're not going to go down, then you're gone. You know, you're still the boss.
Well, this leads also to a conversation that we were having off the show. Like, and this is an honest question. Like, do you think I'm part of the problem in my own career?
I think that because of the level of professional hockey that you've been engaged with over the past few years, I think that there are certain managers that love the promotion, that love saying, oh my God, we get a guy that's going to come in here and expand our brand and get bums in the seats, and that's great. And there's other people that are very traditional. I used to coach in Lloydminster for a team that was owned by Skip Craig, who was a former Stanley Cup winner with the Boston Bruins. I used to run around the ice with my hat backwards, and I remember one time he went up one side of me and down the other in front of the players about having my hat on backwards. And then we talked about it after. He's like, you got to set an example, and you can't look like a hoodlum. And he just wasn't. He was still sticking to those old school kind of mentality, right? Where backwards hat in this day and age doesn't mean anything. Right, you're not a hood just because you wear your hat backwards. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of those managers that think, oh no, that's problems waiting to happen. I think the reach that you have with this podcast and with your vlog and everything, I think they're on pins and needles, just sitting there going, oh, don't say anything, don't, please don't, because I think they have enough trials and tribulations that they're trying to work with. Being an owner in the small little league, but they're not making big money. They're not making huge money on this. They're breaking even, and they're using it as a tax write-off if they can. And so I think they see you as a possible threat to maybe
liability?
maybe just pulling back the curtain too much on what really goes on.
I was thinking about this on the car ride into the studio today, but we talked about this last week. You're going to get judged no matter what you're going to do. And we've gotten very good at compartmentalizing. There's only a certain select people that we actually care about their opinions, right? Like having 100 people in the comments section saying, hey, Dave dresses like my geography teacher, I hate the outfit, or, Trav isn't a very good goalie, doesn't deserve to be playing pro. Like, we don't really care about that type of stuff. But if you're an owner and there's negative feedback coming from 50 people, you're in a town of a couple thousand, although those people may not even be in the community, that's going to play on your psyche because you're not used to that type of negative feedback and think, I don't know if this is really worth is the juice worth the squeeze? Mm-hmm. That's a great question. Mm-hmm. I think part of it also too, like I'm
logical.
I'm pretty logical, right? Like you can talk to me if we have a problem. Like we're both men. Mm-hmm. We have a problem. Let's sit down. Let's talk about it. Let's bring it up, and we can get it solved in 5 to 10 minutes tops. We're men. We love to fix things, so let's fix the problem. But I think a lot of people in that space aren't ready to have that conversation because I think to some degree it includes a little bit of submitting to the other person, saying, "Hey, you have a little bit of power. Can we talk about this?" On both sides, but it's just the way that it goes. Like, this is what I love doing. I love doing this show. Well, I love filming my journey and sharing with people because I think it's such a unique thing to share. And it's also something that I love doing, and I love playing hockey.
Can you tell me how many NHL players have their own YouTube channel?
Zero. I mean, Kasimir Kaskisuo is the perfect example. We talked about him, I think, 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And people compare him and I all the time. Like, two guys one playing real pro hockey, one playing minor pro hockey, both making a little bit of money, also doing the YouTube thing. Like, we're in such different necks of the woods, though, because he's at the highest echelon of pro. And he's also turning down offers. I remember, I could be mistaken, but it was the top league in Finland where he's from. He turned down an offer. He talked about, I'm not playing the ECHL. I'm only doing one-way American League deals. Like, he's got a very firm set of standards that he wants to do because hockey is also his career, but also at the same time, if you're not playing, influencing becomes the thing and making his videos, and you need content and you need to post things. And if teams are on edge about you, that's probably not going to help. And also when you're throwing water bottles at referees, and by the way, that was a great shot, throwing the water bottle bullseye at the back of the head, that's probably not going to help either. So we're in very different necks of the woods. I'm just trying to play competitive hockey at the minor pro level. Again,
or at the highest level you possibly can.
At the highest minor pro level that I can, because I think that's the greatest challenge in the entire world, is trying to be a goaltender at the minor pro level. It's always challenging. Like we talked about last week, there's no incentives for defense, only for offense. And to solve that problem, how do I stop pucks to help a team win? I think it's awesome. I love problem solving. I love that type of stuff. But it's a very different mindset than what he has because I'm trying to play hockey, fulfill that achievement aspect of things while filming it for the vlog to share a cool journey, and most importantly, this podcast every single Sunday.
Okay, well, let me give you a scenario. Let's just say the East Coast Hockey League comes to you and says, we want you. We want you to play regardless of if it's backup or whatever the situation is. Here's X amount of dollars, but you can't do your YouTube during the season. You can't have it. Is it worth it?
I guess it depends on how much money.
Okay, so it comes down to a money thing too. And I think that's where a lot of the dividing line is too, is that you're expected to go out and play these minor pro hockey where they cover, the bare minimums and put a little money in your pocket, and they say, go ahead and pick up a part-time job on the side, as long as that part-time job isn't in social media.
Well, here's the reason why I say it depends on the money. They could pay me a good amount of money to not do any social media and just play for the team, but when the season's done, do I have any momentum with my social media to bring more money to the table, and what is the long-term gain?
So if it was a 1-year deal, well, as soon as that contract's done, they can't dictate and tell you what to do. But
Correct.
if it's a 2-year deal inside of that window, they could say, no, you're not going on camera unless it's our cameras and it's our social media and we control the message. That was a big thing in the Canadian Football League about as far as the team controlling the message. There wasn't going to be players that were stepping out saying, oh, this is what's really going on. It's like, no. All message comes from right here.
It comes back to the communication side, though. If we're willing to have the conversation about that message and making sure we're on the same page of like, hey, there's some funny stuff that comes up. I think we should talk about that. I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
You don't.
I don't.
You don't.
But they do.
I think a good example of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who I think we can all agree has done very, very well for himself. For a guy who got cut from the Calgary Stampeders of the BC Lions, I think it was the BC Lions, and decided he was going to go off and do the pro wrestling thing like his dad did. He went to Vince. He tells the story about how he went to Vince McMahon, and he said, I want $2 million for this upcoming year. And Vince said, $2 million, why? And he says, well, Stone Cold's getting $1 million. I've been doing all this. I want $2 million. And he says, tell you what, I'm going to give you a number. I'm going to get you in touch with one of my guys. I want you to learn everything about how we operate this business, from the ins and outs to every single dollar, the revenue that comes in, the things that we put out, all the travel expenses. And then I want you to come back to me and ask for a reason and ask for another dollar amount, whatever you want it to be. And he said, after learning about all these things that go on in the background, it was a little more interesting, the offer that he came with. It was a little more detailed about, well, with this and on this market and that what, and they were able to work something out. So I think the better you can do understanding how all the back end works in all these different leagues gives you a little more negotiating room for, here's what I'm willing to do, and come in with a little more detailed plan rather than, I do a podcast, I do a vlog, I'll stop some bucks for you.
But to bring it back to Kasimir, though, that's the difference between him and I. When we're talking about an FPHL or an SPHL team where the budget is $700,000, $1 million a year, I can make a significant slice in that pie and an impact to bring people to the rink and put money in their pockets. But when you're dealing with an ECHL, American League, and NHL team where the budget is how many millions of dollars, I don't think there's any amount financially that you're going to be able to bring to the arena to justify that slice of the pie. And they're going to say, stop with the cameras, stop with all that stuff, just play hockey. And this is another interesting aspect too, is we talked about it before. I've noticed a lot of hockey wives trying to build a brand off their husband's hockey career. Like a lot of the Jets, like Kyle Connor, Appleton, a bunch of the guys, their chicks have made a TikTok brand off of, hey, come to me or come watch me go to my husband's hockey game. Here's me getting dressed up. Here's me and the other hockey wives getting our new denim jackets for the playoffs and going to dinner. What do teams think about that? Well, you can't tell him to tell his missus to stop posting videos at the game because she doesn't work for the team, but she's affiliated with him and she's a package deal. It's like the crazy hockey dad. Yeah, your kid can play, but the dad's retarded and he's always complaining and fighting parents in the parking lot. Get the guy out of here. You don't want to be the hockey dad cut. I wonder if that's going to start becoming an issue as well, as don't be the hockey wife that gets your husband cut.
I don't think they've ran into any problems with that yet because you're not seeing the behind the scenes as far as what the players are going through, as far as the wives go. Look at it this way. I think Bill Burr does a great idea about how, a lot of professional women's leagues aren't doing as well as they were hoped. And Bill Burr says, don't blame us. Like this is on you.
Build a better product.
Like you're busy watching the Kardashians and asking for all of that, when instead you should be going to your local WNBA game. So don't blame us on the failure of your league. And I think he brings up a very, very good point. So if you can kind of meld those two together, right? So now you've got women liking what women want, which is fashion, which is style, which is going out and all these things. And it happens to be associated with hockey. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing for marketing overall. Maybe that'll get a few more women going, ooh, I wouldn't mind having that experience going to a game. So now you're getting more females into the rink that way. Right? Mm-hmm. So for them, they're probably very cautious and kind of looking at it going, let's see how this pans out and we'll deal with it as we cross that bridge. So I think they're being very poignant about it, but I think the jury's still out on that one. I think a better question is not necessarily a better question. How about a statement? I absolutely love the way that the league has embraced having a female assistant coach on the bench. Because, keep in mind, women have been behind the scenes a lot in professional hockey, but this is the first time that they're very visible during the game. And I think it's great.
You want to get into that right now, or you want to save that for later?
Totally up to you. What else you got?
Oh, man, I want to be optimistic, but she's going to be the greatest HR problem in the National Hockey League. Like, the Seattle Kraken better have double the HR staff for the season for the amount of complaints they're going to be getting, because I don't see that ending very well.
Complaints how? What kind of complaints?
Well, okay, so first off, she was hired to be an assistant coach. And Ron Francis and the team came out and said, we vetted hundreds of people to be the next assistant coach. And she was by far the most credible. And we've talked before about how women's pro hockey is the equivalent of midget AAA boys. So if you're interviewing guys that play the pro level or coach at the pro level, to say that she's more qualified would not be true. Also, this is just my opinion. As a pro, if a woman was behind the bench, she doesn't have that same bite and that same tenacity that a male head coach would have. I respond best when coach is screaming and yelling and expecting the best out of me and disciplining the guys and having a certain standard. If she's being nice, soft, and traditionally agreeable, like most women are because they're feminine, it's not going to get the same result out of me. Also, if she hasn't played at the same level, it's like me telling you how to run a morning radio show. I don't have the same experience, so why would you listen to me? Yeah, I got some feedback, but I'm not going to be navigating you through the whole ranks of having the top morning show in the city of Winnipeg. Same way she's not going to be telling guys in the NHL level, hey, I think this is how you should be doing it. This is how you should handle Connor McDavid when he's coming to town this week. Also, we know that how guys are, and playing minor pro hockey myself, I know how many issues the teams that I played with have had with cheerleaders, marketing ladies, media interns, where the GM's coming in before morning skate. Can we stop touching the media lady? Can we stop doing this? If I see anybody with the cheerleaders, you're off, you're released, you're no longer employed by the team. I think on a balance of probability, you got 20 guys. I think it's safe to say 30% of those guys will think about taking an opportunity, because that's just how we are, right? Men are attracted to women. And you're going to have HR complaints left and right and center. You're going to have so many issues. And then also, I mean, let's be honest, Seattle is pretty woke culture. I mean, they have Climate Pledge Arena, not the Pepsi Center, Bell MTS Center. It's the Climate Pledge Arena. Hiring the first female assistant coach, you're going to have complaints. And when she gets fired, because all coaches are hired to be fired, you're going to have HR complaints coming left, right, and center.
Okay.
Here we go.
I think you have valid points in there, but I think where you're putting her into just, oh, she's a woman, so she's going to act this way, and this is all she knows. If she knows the game, and I don't think you necessarily had to have played the game at a high level, but I think she knows the game extremely well. I think she proved that with the Coachella Valley Thunderbirds or Firebirds, and I think Dan Bilesma probably vetted a lot of different coaches, but thought, I work really well. Like her and I, we really get along. She understands the game the way I understand the game. That's going to help me coach better. I'm going to explain to the guys, listen, that is a coach. She knows the game. You listen to what she says. I'm the coach. You listen to what I say. Her and I are on the same wavelength. We have the same brain when it comes to hockey. And as long as the players understand that and they go and going, okay, we all want to win, I think that's going to be it's got to be a very hard line right at the very beginning. This is your coach, period. That's it. And if she can go out there and prove, and she has a lot to prove this year, absolutely, she did a great job proving it in the American Hockey League, and Dan Bilesma recognized that. And I think I do agree with you when it is a very much look, we have a woman in professional sports. Look, celebrate this.
But if it wasn't about that, they would have just hired her, end of story. But they're making such a big parade about she's the first woman to ever coach
it's marketing.
in the
Well,
league.
why not? Why not have an extra little marketing in there, right? Why not? Again, no different than having the women give an experience of hey, this is what it's like going to a game day. This is what it's like being a coach in the National Hockey League. And I know there'll be documentaries that come out throughout the years that she's there. When it comes right down to it, if the Seattle Kraken are successful this year, then we're not having this conversation. Then it's okay, then you may be in a situation where you might eat your words a little bit here.
I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong.
I'm not saying that a few of those things that you mentioned may pop up, but I think they're going to be squashed very quickly. Dan Bilesma is smarter than that. I think Jessica's a lot smarter than that, and I think they're all able to say, this is a work environment, period. There's no negotiation. There's no wiggle room. We come in here, we work. That's your head coach. That's your assistant coach. That's your massage therapist. These are all the people that work, and we're all here to do jobs, okay? And do not confuse any of them. This is what we're here to do. I think that she has been very...
Yeah, but you even said, though, many times when I've told you stories from the Fed, that's the forbidden fruit. And that's 6, now looks like an 8, 8.5, and now, okay, We'll take an opportunity here. Right? I mean, like it's just the way that men work. It's the way that, especially when you have these masculine, alpha-driven athletes that are at the peak of their performance, the peak of their careers. Someone's going to. I mean, look at the Carolina Hurricanes. Ian Cole was he was crushing the head media lady. Well, he had a wife and a kids, and then they got busted. Oh yeah, Ian Cole's he's going to stay here. He's going to keep playing for the team, but she got shit canned.
Okay, I think that they're in a situation where it's been leading up to this. I mean. Remember, it was over 2 decades ago that female reporters were allowed into the male locker room. And it was like, guys, we're going to have a female in here.
When did that happen?
Appropriately. I'd say over 2 decades ago.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. And it was like, hey, there's going to be girls coming in here. Make sure that you're dressed appropriately. But also on the other end saying, hey, you're walking into a male locker change room. You may see some things that you're not necessarily wanting to see. But don't forget, you're in there to do a job. Period. And I think as long as everyone understands this is the job, and again, it all comes down to the success. It's no different than what we talked about for goaltenders going in. What have you done for me lately? Are we winning? Are the players reacting to you? Are they listening to you? Because, I mean, look, you talk about you'd rather have a guy there, a guy like Ken Hitchcock. And I'm going to use him just as an example because he is a giant man who could not even put on a pair of skates to go out on the ice.
Coach from the bench.
All right. So I mean, there's a situation where are you going to listen to that guy who can't even go out and do what he's asking you to do? You're going to listen to him rather than somebody that can at least can lace up and pop one top cheddar if asked?
Well, he's on a short leash, though. Like, if the head coach comes in and he can't even put on skates and he's coaching from the bench, I'll give him a chance because he's a new guy, but he's got a really, really small wiggle room there and a small leash. If he's coming in...
then give her the same.
Of course.
Yeah.
But if a guy's coming in six-pack, jacked, shredded, big shoulders, big muscles, he's played the pro level, he's got a resume, he commands my respect. I'm giving him moral authority just based off how he's presenting himself. It's how we're programmed and how we're wired. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they have a successful season. I'd love to go experience the game there because they have the greatest goal song in all of pro hockey. The Nirvana Lithium, Let's Go Kraken. I love it.
There are a lot of pundits out there, and keep in mind, there are a lot of people that talk about the game that are sitting on panels that have a lot of broadcast experience that know the game extremely well, and we all look to them to go, they know what they're talking about, even though they've never played a game of pro hockey in their entire life.
Yeah, and we know those ratings are in the shitter.
Regardless, there's a lot of people out there. I mean, listen, I've never played a game of pro hockey in my life, but I know the game really well. I know the game really, really, really well.
You know the game better than probably 90% of the commentators in these panels that are just garbage.
And so there you go. So now you've got somebody who's played at a very competitive level, one of the highest levels of competition that she could achieve. So you got to give her a little bit of credibility on that one. Give her a chance. As long as the Seattle Kraken are making the playoffs and they're making a run, I don't think they're making a change until Dan Bilesma's gone. And if Dan Bilesma's gone, I think she's going wherever he goes.
Let us know in the comment section. What do you think? Let's have a civil discourse in the comment section. And then are you on my side? Are you on Dave's side? We'd love to know.
And tag your HR department.
Well, hey, on the topic of relationship management, the presenting sponsor for today's show, the DailyWire Plus, they have this incredible collection, the Jordan Peterson Mastering Life Collection. They sponsored last week's show. They're back again. Seriously great watch. And if you just go to the DailyWire Plus, you get their entire catalog of podcasts, whether it's my favorite right now is Matt Walsh's "Am I a Racist?" I love that one.
Haven't seen it yet. It's on my watch list.
It's the top of the list. Also, his "What Is a Woman" is fantastic.
I've seen that one.
They got the Ben Shapiro show. They have so many shows on DailyWire Plus. I highly recommend it. And we talked last week in depth about getting the most as a man, managing your marriage, managing relationships, negotiating the art of the deal. All that is in JP Jordan Peterson's Mastering Life collection. Dave and I couldn't recommend it enough. We're so excited and so proud to have the DailyWire Plus on the podcast. And right now, if you go to the link in the video description on the YouTube show, click on that link, use the code BIZKIT30, BIZKIT 30. You're going to get 30% off your subscription from the DailyWire Plus. And again, thank you so much to them for joining the show, and we are so proud to have them on.
Maybe the Seattle Kraken need to watch some of those Jordan B. Peterson videos.
You should negotiate some better coaches.
So they can so they can understand that there's a monster and a dragon that lives inside of them and how to navigate that, dealing with different entities inside of the locker room, because personalities can swing different ways, right? I mean, just because there's a bunch of dudes in the room doesn't mean everyone's going to get along. We've seen that happen. We saw it in the Buffalo Sabres getting into a fight in the middle of practice. Not the first time that's happened. We saw it happen with Darren McCarty and Rob Probert back in the day. It happens.
How about Ray Emery and Brian McGrattan scrapping at practice, scrapping your goalie? By the way, the JP's Mastering Life collection is called Dragons, Monsters, and Men. Mm-hmm. No affiliation to the Seattle Kraken with the dragon, the monster.
Right, yes, of course.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. But it is quite a coincidence.
And you love Jordan Peterson. You've been saying his praises for months, for years now on the show.
Yeah.
So we are so happy and so proud to have them on the show. And thanks to DailyWire Plus for sponsoring this portion of the show.
Go sign up. Vote with your wallet.
Absolutely. Also, I had a great story that I forgot to mention last week on the, we mentioned Linus Ullmark, Ottawa Senators goalie. He's a Bauer athlete. If you're a Bauer player, goalie player, or the influencing realm, they give you $10,000 a year, signing bonus, unlimited gear, and a $10,000 Lululemon gift card for the year.
Ooh.
I don't know what $10,000 could get you at Lululemon. I know it's very expensive, but if I had that kind of money, man, I'd be taking people shopping left, right, and center. Wheels, let's go shopping. Wheels, I'll take your wife shopping. I'll take my mom shopping. I'll take the corgi shopping. Take everybody shopping for 10 G's at Lululemon.
They had a line once upon a time, and I know they integrate it every once in a while, but I'm amazed that Lululemon hasn't stuck their neck into the golf game yet because their stuff is lightweight. Like, I mean, it's really good stuff. I actually wore the really nice pair of pants that they wore once upon a time, and I got away with it in the dress as far as the dress code goes at my golf course. And again, great stuff. I could spend $10,000 on golf stuff there real quick. I don't know why they don't do a specific golf line. It's great.
Vancouver-based company too.
Get them as a sponsor.
I'm trying.
Yeah, please.
Vancouver-based though, right? Chip Wilson, Vancouver. Yeah, great stuff. They have like 3 huge buildings in Vancouver.
Okay, so again, I want to touch on this a little bit here. So if you're you said Bauer athlete?
Yeah, Bauer.
So if you're a Bauer athlete, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to be at the pro ranks. I'm pretty sure that it's a little bit different if you're...
Yes, with anybody. So if you're like a chick, if you're an influencer, like in the social media realm, if you're an NHL player, if you're signed to a Bauer deal, I'll give you $10,000 plus. So you can get more if you're a guy like, I think... So Austin Matthews used Bauer. Anyway, like a McDavid or those guys, obviously they're getting more than 10 Gs.
Sure.
But if you're an influencer, if you're whatever, maybe like a fourth line guy, you're getting 10 Gs. You're getting the $10,000 Lululemon gift card because they have a deal, Bauer and Lululemon, unlimited gear. Yeah,
that's a pretty good flow deal. Listen, I know even in the snowboarding industry, there are guys who are not professional who will get what's called a flow deal. It's like, hey, listen, we'll outfit you, just make sure you wear our stuff. And if you're shooting video, make sure it's very prominent up there, and we'll keep giving you free stuff. But once you start getting into the professional ranks, then it's like, all right, we'll pay you on top because we want you shooting commercials. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, like, you don't have a deal with an equipment company.
No.
But
unofficially, like I got the deal with Warrior, but they hook me up and they take care of me with early access to stuff. But there's nothing more like a gentleman's agreement. Okay,
but so would that be like a flow deal? Like, are they giving you free gear?
Sometimes I get free stuff. They don't pay me anything. I just love wearing the gear, and I like wearing Warrior stuff. It also helps because in the Fed they were a Warrior league, so helped to get deals on Warrior stuff, and I ended up trying it. I liked it, and then
Have you looked for deals like that before?
Like getting paid?
Yeah,
that's not going to work.
Why not?
I like to be honest about things. So if you're going to be getting like a Bauer deal, you can't be wearing other brands. You can't be talking about the stuff. You wear it. You're like a poster boy. You're giving eyeballs out there. That's really all there is to it.
Well, why can't you do that?
I could do it now, but previously in years past, when I'm trying different equipment pieces and I'm doing reviews and telling people what I actually think about them to try to help other people, that's not going to fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense. But you'd be happy to say goodbye to doing the reviews if you got a 100% sponsorship deal, or at least a flow deal.
Yeah, I'd entertain it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you could use some equipment. You've been off the ice for how long?
Okay, so quick story. I during the pandemic, I wasn't allowed into hockey rinks, and so my gear.
Why was that, Dave? Why didn't they let you in?
Because I didn't get one of these. I know that YouTube will block out if I say a certain word. So
yeah.
I didn't get any of those, and so I wasn't allowed in rinks. I didn't have one of those little plastic cards that allowed me into a lot of places.
Wasn't because you were chopping onions with stick handling down by the boards?
No. Listen,
Wheeler salad special.
There was nothing left of those pucks after I was done stick handling with them.
Chop them in 3 pieces.
So my gear basically became a paperweight. It was taking up room, and so it ended up in a secondhand shop here in Winnipeg. And I just kind of thought, well, I guess I'm not playing hockey for a while, and I just haven't gone back and repopulated any of my gear. And so when people ask me to go play, I'm like, I don't have any gear. And I guess I'm retired. But yeah, I'd be more than happy to suit up. If Bauer or CCM or anybody wants to send me a bunch of gear and outfit me, I am down to get back out on the ice.
And make you a Warrior athlete.
I bet you I can do better than Brody True on a one-on-one breakout with you.
Every squirrel finds a nut.
So, hey, spoiler alert, I'm going to stop on the hash marks every time and clap one at you.
The Brian Rolston special?
I'm probably going to stop at the point and just flick one in like I used to do when I was playing defense.
You saw that one Draisaitl scored in the shootout the other day against the Canucks? Half clapper from right between the circles in the shootout?
Making $13.8 million. What does it matter? You shoot from anywhere.
It's actually not that much money when you think about it, though.
Are you insane? I'll stop and just and hear the words that just came out of your mouth.
Hear me out for a second, okay?
No. Say it out loud again. $13.8 million a year isn't that much money? That's insane.
In the grand scheme of the NHL. So this is why you're never going to see a Canadian team compete competitively, consistently, for as long as we have the current political situation. I'll tell you why. So let's say Leon's making $13 million a year.
He is. Let's not just say he is.
Well, there's a reason why I'm saying hypothetically, because we don't want to offend any of the gatekeepers of the social media realm. So let's say, hypothetically, I was making $13 million to play in the National Hockey League, and I played for a team in a country where the government is taking 60% to taxes. So now my $13 million is really $6 million. Okay, so now I got to pay my agent fee. Let's say I lose another $1 million to that, so I'm really making $5 million instead of $13 million. If I'm playing in the National Hockey League, why would I do that and make $5 million for the price of $13 million when I can go to Florida or Nashville where I can make the full $13 million? Also, I don't have to deal with all the other issues in Canada where it's freezing cold, or maybe they have a bad locker room culture because everybody's pissed off because that's who's governing our body or governing our country.
Well, I don't know all the rules. I know Corey Schneider kind of broke it down to us a little bit, and I'm not a finance guy at all. I know you took business in college, but escrow, I mean, there's money that's put aside to make sure that all these taxes in different states and different provinces get balanced out for the most part. And again, I don't know all the X's and O's on that one, but from what I understand, they try and make sure that those are offset. Those costs that you're talking about are offset. So if you're paying 0% income tax in Florida and Texas in comparison to the 60% here in Manitoba, then I totally understand that argument. But I think they are compensated in different areas. Now, if you're going to compare it, because I think this is where you're going to as far as social media influence, the amount of money they're making. Sure, if you want to go off and do that, but Leon Draisaitl's best chance to make money is putting pucks in the net, not doing an OnlyFans page.
Well, he could do that somewhere else. If he was doing it in Florida, he'd be making more money. If he was doing it in Nashville, he'd be making more money. Tampa, you'd be making more money. Almost anywhere in the U.S., you'd be making more money than if you're playing in Canada, where they're taking 60% of your money. And then obviously you have to pay into escrow if the current situation in the last couple of years. If you're, let's say, playing in Canada during the scamdemic, you can't play unless you're Tyler Bertuzzi, unless you do exactly what they tell you at all times, or you can only play home games or road games in the U.S. There's no reason why an NHL player should want to play in a Canadian market. I wish I was wrong. I hope that wasn't the climate.
When David Beckham went to the LA Galaxy, it was, and I'm just pulling numbers out of my Rolodex here as my memory, but I'm pretty sure it was like $100 million. People were like, in the MLS, it was a brand new league. Like, they don't have money to pay that. But the idea is that you'll get enough endorsement money. We'll make sure we will land you as many endorsement deals as we can so you can make money outside to make sure that it totals up to $100 million, and that's what you'll get paid, but it'll be a fraction of that from the actual Galaxy that's paying you. So I think if you play in Florida, your endorsement opportunities are not nearly as good as they are in Edmonton. He could be making an extra $5 million a year endorsing things in and around Edmonton. So I think there's an opportunity there to go out and make money.
Any heated driveway sponsors?
Love my heated driveway, Connor McDavid.
I love not being with the shit munchers in the shit neighborhood. I got to shovel my own driveway. I love that my driveway takes care of itself and heats the snow away.
By the way, we're giving away a free driveway to anyone that signs up on Patreon. We're not. But sign up to be a Patreon member. Win your very own heated driveway. We're not giving one away. It's not happening.
Here's a stat for you. Connor McDavid has made the most money out of any NHL player last 3 seasons at $37.5 million, which is only half of the top OnlyFans model Corinna Kampf made last year at $67.5 million. Last year, McDavid, $37 million the last 3 seasons.
I think Connor McDavid has guaranteed money behind him where the OnlyFans page does not.
I think Corinna Kampf has a better D pairing than Connor McDavid and the Oilers.
Now, okay, if you had an opportunity to go to OnlyFans, would you scrap everything you're doing right now and go make even like $1.5 million? Would you go do it?
No, because my sanity's not for sale.
Okay, so there we go. So now it talks about quality of life now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, are you willing to trade off these certain things? And it's negotiations that you do with yourself, right? Are you willing to, AKA, sell out for X amount of dollars when people will go, whoa, what are they doing? That wasn't the brand that I was sold. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
That's why so many people are coming from Spit and Chicklets and listen to our show, because they're just tired of...
Welcome.
Thanks for joining the show. We're happy to have you
Happy
here.
to have you. Yeah.
Oh, man. Also, the McDavid Corinna Kampf analogy. A father's dream, every father's worst nightmare.
Yeah. Well, hey, you...
Don't tell me how to enjoy things.
When you first plant a tree, you'll see people put up little sticks beside it and pieces of wire and pieces of garden hose because they want to try and shape that thing, right, in a certain direction. Because when that trunk gets too thick, it's going to grow on its own. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing when it comes to raising children. You try and guide them in the right direction for as long as you can before you kind of go, the rest is up to you. I hope I've given you enough of a solid foundation for you to go out and make those decisions. And as a father, I can tell you first-handedly, when something happens and my kids do something, I'm upset, but I'm more upset with myself going, what did I do? Where did I go wrong that they thought that this would be okay?
But that's the leader mentality. you lead from the front.
Right.
If the people behind you have failed, that's a reflection on you. You have not done a good job of leading and being the role model, which I guess to some degree the outfit influences are going to influence your kids or whoever you're leading. But yeah, that's a good mentality to have.
Another great opportunity to plug Jordan Peterson's content on DailyWire Plus, because man, oh man, he really kind of breaks it down on a visceral level for you to be able to say, huh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he hates OnlyFans too. That's another great segue. But speaking of the scamdemic, I have this in the notes here. In 2021, did I ever tell you about the Braden Holtby story getting denied entry into the U.S.?
I'm familiar with it. Please recount my memory.
Oh man, 2021 scamdemic. Braden Holtby, he's trying to go from Canada, where he's from, Lloydminster. Is it Lloydminster?
Yeah, he's from Lloyd. Yep.
From Alberta.
Yep.
Trying to get into Washington. And
Lloydminster, Alberta, Saskatchewan. Yeah.
It's right in the border, right?
Yeah, border city.
He's trying to get into the U.S. and they denied him entry. He was trying to bring his tortoise. It's like, I want to bring my turtle. Well, you don't have the proper paperwork, so you got to go back and get the proper paperwork. And I just thought to myself, like, he's a little bit of a different guy. I remember when he came in.
He's a goalie, of course he is.
Well, when he broke, okay, well, that's different, though. Like, there's goalies, there's goalie weird, and then you have the Braden Holtbys of the world. And I love Holtby. He was one of my favorites. And I remember when he broke into the scene, 2012, again, like we talked about last week, opportunity meets preparation, James Reimer's career because of that. Braden Holtby, Thomas Vokoun, and Michael Neuwirth both got injured in like a 2-week period. Holtby's the starter for the playoffs. We don't know if we're talking about this same story in his tortoise,
right,
if those two guys don't get injured. But he comes on the scene, he's doing the water bottle squirt, he's the idiosyncrasies and all the body language. It's such a fascinating guy, but...
You know the mentality or the strategy behind the water bottle squirt, right?
Yeah, you're following the water droplet. You squirt it up.
Yeah, you squirt it up and you find one droplet and you follow that all the way down amongst all the other things that are going on and all the other droplets. You pick one and you follow it all the way down. And he was taught that from his goalie coach back when he was in junior, and I think it's a great little, just wonderful. I love it.
That and a lot of his breathing exercises I put into my preparation. I love that. Stoppage of play, you make a save, whatever, about to reset for the face-off. You watch the water droplet come down, take a nice deep breath, make sure your body language is in line, nice and calm, cool, and collected, and let's go get those pucks. I love Braden Holtby. A little bit of a different Cheeto. I remember he was just kind of like Tim Thomas when they won the Cup in 2018. He didn't go to the White House, I think.
Yeah, good for him.
A bit of a different guy. He strikes me as a van life kind of guy. He's retired now. I bet he's in a van.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was just going to ask. I don't even know, because keep in mind I worked in Lloydminster in radio for 2 years, and that's where I coached hockey in the Alberta Junior Hockey League. And Braden Holtby was just coming up. He was a little bit younger at that time, but everyone had their eye on him as far as being a really good goaltender. Yeah,
he's one of those guys, though. I think he retires from hockey, and you're not going to hear from him ever.
Yeah,
because Caps, Canucks for a year with Demko, and then Stars. Stars for one season. Then that was it. Him and Ottinger.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, when it comes to pro sports, we've seen a lot of horror stories about players that just couldn't figure out what to do if they didn't have the game, right? And it's a big... Some guys already know, like, hey, once I'm done, I'm going fishing, right?
Yep.
Like Dustin Byfuglien or Braden Holtby or...
Connor Hellebuck.
Or whoever. And they just like, I'm done with the game. I made my money. I'm out. Thank you very much. It was a great time. And then you see them 20 years later when their jersey goes up to the Raptors or something. But there's other players that need to stay involved in the game. And there's just cut from two different cloths, I guess.
It reminds me of Motor City. Same situation. We had a guy coming in from Quebec, and we ended up hearing, Tommy got denied entry. He's not coming into the country for 2 weeks. Oh, what happened? He's trying to bring his hamster. He didn't have the proper paperwork.
Should have Richard Geared that one.
What, shove it up his ass? Reminds me of, in Jackass when they take Bam and they shove the toy car up his ass and he goes to the doctor and the doctor's like,
oh, that was Chris Dunn, I think.
Chris Dunn, yeah. Danger. Was it Danger Dunn? No, that's Danger Aaron.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris Dunn. And he's like, well, Doc, what do you think? I think you need to find some better friends.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone about this. Me, already too many people.
It looks like a toy car.
Actually, since we're getting off topic here, I actually watched a documentary. It's on YouTube right now, but they went to Castle Bam. Yep. And just did retrospective, and he's still living on the property, and just showed clips and called old guys and the different tricks they were doing off different stuff. And man, what a life that guy has lived. Jeez, he's looking rough.
Man, speaking of things to shove up your ass, though, the second sponsor for today's show, a pair of Sheath Underwear.
Oh,
don't shove them up your ass, but put them on your ass.
I'll tell you, you'll never get a wedgie with these things. They are cut perfectly. Like they are. Honestly, I know I speak about it like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It really is. Like,
it is.
When it comes to men's underwear, there hasn't been a lot of technology advancements in the past century. It's just been like, here's a piece of cloth to put over your junk. Sheath actually said, hey, we should have different compartments. There's different working parts in there. And it's fantastic. Like, honestly, walk around more comfortably as a human being. It makes so much sense. And I almost felt stupid when I saw this going, why didn't we figure this out 30, 40 years ago?
Yeah. Take your cannolis, you put it in a separate compartment. You take your bocconcinis, put those in a separate compartment. Nobody's touching, nobody's sticking on the side of your leg. It's fantastic. You get this great brand new bamboo mesh. They have this new and improved bamboo mesh. It's cooler than ever before, more comfortable than ever before, and you don't got to be Italian to get a pair of Sheath underwear. You just go to the link in the video description on the YouTube show, click that link, put in the code BIZKIT69, BIZKIT, for 20% off the greatest pair of underwear money ever has and ever will buy, only from the team at Sheath, and they've been a day one sponsor of the show. If you haven't gotten a pair of Sheath, go get them.
And ladies, don't think you're getting shut out. If you're getting ready to go to a game day experience and you're the wife of a professional hockey player, make sure you're wearing your Sheath bra and your Sheath underwear because it's good for the ladies too.
Yeah, and if you don't get a pair of Sheath underwear for this upcoming Christmas holiday season, I will give you the chair like Eric Lindros got from Brind'omour.
Whoa, that's a callback to way back in the day in the Philadelphia Flyers. I had heard rumors back in the day that there may have been some intermarital issues that were going on in the locker room. That's one of the reasons.
Brind'omour?
From what I understand, again, I'm not going to sit here and say, all I know is that there were intermarriage issues going on, and that's the reason why one of them wasn't playing for the team anymore.
Well, that's why Chris Pronger got traded too, right? I think it was Jarrett Stoll was crushing his wife, and he's like, okay, we're bouncing. We're going from Edmonton to Anaheim. Then they win the Cup. I think that was what happened.
Well, from what I understand, wasn't Marty Brodeur, didn't he go and have extramarital affairs with his wife's twin sister?
Can't blame the guy for that, though.
Got confused.
Yeah, he didn't know who was who.
Hey, I don't know. Get a tattoo or something. I don't know.
Shout out to his son, Jeremy Broder. He listens to the show, good friend. And that's
Sorry,
awesome.
Jeremy.
That's okay. We still love you. But hockey lingo, this is one thing that I had in the notes as well I wanted to ask you about. I think Don Cherry came up with the term beauty.
Ooh, boy, I don't know where we could source that one.
I feel like that's an OG Don Cherry term. She's a beauty. I don't remember anybody else saying that before Don Cherry.
He certainly made it popular. And, when it comes to hockey lingo, man, oh, man, it can be very, I think, I'm trying to remember his name, Armstrong, who's the former...
Kobe Armstrong.
Yeah, the former Penguin. When he brought Top Cheddar into the panel on TSN. He brought that? I remember Duthie and the rest of them looking at him going, what? What did you just say? He's like, yeah, boys, Top Cheddar.
Well, when did he start working there? Because I remember hearing Top Cheese, Top Cheddar, like we're talking mid-2010s, early 2010s.
Yeah, before that. It was either around there or just before that.
Or maybe he came on like after the season. He just came on the panel for like a playoff thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was bringing that in. The lingo that he was bringing in, it was over all the broadcaster's head. But man, yeah, some of the stuff that gets said in the locker room, the way it catches on is sometimes so innocent where somebody will say something and someone goes, what did you just say? That's hilarious. And then they repeat it as it being funny and then it just becomes part of the vernacular.
I feel like Spit and Chicklets, Paul Bissonnette, he pioneered wagon. That's a wagon of a team. That was his term. And then buzzing. We're buzzing out there. I think he came up with those ones.
Yeah, those are terms that I've heard before, but it's a matter of taking it and just kind of saying it over and over and over and over until more people start repeating it. But yeah, some terms are here today and gone tomorrow. Some of them have stayed the test of time, like beauty. That's been around for 50 years. So
Zamboni.
Yep. Yeah, there's been lots of lingo. I mean, I think every industry has their own little mini language, their little micro language inside of their industry. I mean, geez, if you go to Whistler and you come back a month later, the lingo has completely changed.
I think the most versatile word, though, was wheel. That's changed so much. It went from, you got to wheel the puck. Wheel. Got some space. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to wheel the chick. Are you wheeling her?
Well, yeah, look at it this way. You got a bunch of guys out going, and they're using the same kind of terminology going out there going, hey, go out there and wheel. Do what you do on the ice. Same kind of thing, right? So it kind of...
Or you want to get a post-game wheel?
Yeah.
Get a post-game a pizza, a wheel. Got a nice 3-meat wheel.
I had never heard someone call the casino the Chino before you came back from the Fed in your first year in Motor City.
Or the Nino. The Nino, the Chino, the casino.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it all kind of spins. Yeah, it's a very British thing. I remember watching a film. I think it was I'm not going to guess. You're better at these ones, but anyways, it was Don Cheadle playing a British guy, and I think it was the first Ocean's movie actually. And he goes, "We're going to be in a lot of Bonnie," and they look at him. He goes, "Bonnie, Rubble, Trouble." And so just being able to connect those dots all the way down, yeah, language fascinates me. It fascinates me.
I never understood. They got the cement rock car and they're using their feet to pedal it. That never really made any sense.
Sure it does. Big, strong. Those people like 8 feet tall. I don't know. I'm making stuff
up. Yabba dabba do. You're going to yabba dabba do it all the way home?
What did you prefer, Jetsons or Flintstones?
Flintstones.
Yeah?
Yeah, more relatable. Mm-hmm. Cavemen.
Keep in mind, those cartoons first came out before I was born. Like, those have stood the test of time.
Those are some OG ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't make them like they used to.
Speaking of old episodes, you can always catch our old episodes on Patreon. There's some deleted ones on Patreon that you can only see on Patreon.
How do you feel about doing a giveaway? Why don't we do a giveaway? We haven't done one in a long time.
What do you want to give away?
Why don't we give away some merch? We'll give away some trading cards.
Okay.
If leave a comment down below. How long have you been listening to the show?
Tag a friend that also listens to the show.
You can't do that in the YouTube comment section.
Why not?
But why don't we do this?
All right.
Leave a comment. How long have you been listening to the show? And I'll send some people a comment reply, be like, hey, email me if pick you as a winner. Or go on Instagram, send me like a screenshot of you watching the YouTube show, and send me over that, and then we'll get your information. We'll send you out some merchandise, some cards.
Beautiful. Sign up to be a Patreon member.
Yeah, as many people as want to send me that, we'll get some cards out, and we'll that'd be awesome.
And go subscribe to the Clips channel as well.
Yeah, we got long form clips. So if you're listening to the full 45-minute show, 50-minute show, you're like, hey, this is a lot of my time. I know 3-minute shows or 3-hour shows are tough, but 45 is tough. You can watch the segmented clips version, 2, 3, 5, 10-minute clips. You can get that hit every single week. There's the Shorts channel if you want to see the vertical format, and then Instagram and TikTok as well, which we are popping. I think we did 1.6 million impressions last month, which is
cooking.
It's crazy.
We're buzzing out there.
We're
wheeling it.
Wheel that thing. Gonna spit on that thing.
Listen, have a great Halloween, everybody. Honestly, whatever your costumes. I would love to see if anyone dresses up as Travis Ridgen for Halloween. Please send in photos. We'd be happy to put the visual up on the video pod.
Do they sell cheese grater costumes?
Your best Travis Ridgen. I would love to see it.
What are you going as for Halloween, son? A block of cheese. Why? Travis. Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese. There's holes everywhere. Everywhere.
Oh, man. I still think the greatest trip of all time that I got, this chick that I was dating a couple years ago, they were doing like a jersey auction. And my jersey ended up going for the most amount of money. And she said, was that because it was in the best shape because it got used the least amount this season? And she was just trying to be nice. Like, oh, it's a good shaped jersey. Absolutely roasted.
Best one I ever saw. A couple of staff members came in dressed as me and my co-host of my radio show at the time, and they wore a set of glasses, and they had one of those like fake eyes that just kind of popped out and hung down here the entire time.
Yeah, because you got a fake eye. Well, you got a real eye. It just doesn't work.
My eye's real, just doesn't work.
Well, hey, we're two guys with three eyes. We got a
work.
podcast. Well, sometimes. I'm Travis Ridgen, your favorite minor pro hockey goalie. That's Dave Wheeler, your top morning radio show host in the city of Winnipeg for over 20 years. Thank you so much for listening to Slangin The Bizkit. Check us out every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern when the new show drops, and we'll see you next Sunday. Thanks for watching.